You're watching Rock and Roll Rugby, and today we're going to be looking at the tournament stats of the World Cup Rugby 2023 after week 1. Now keep in mind, this is week 1. Some teams played tougher opponents, others didn't play as tougher opponents. So it all affects the stats, and it can kind of, in a way skew it. Because we'll only after like the first, say, 4 weeks really see when all the teams have played, the better teams and the worst teams have a clear picture of the tournament stats. After week 1, obviously some teams ran away with it, like for instance, definitely Ireland was the standout team. Obviously, fielding a full team, giving all their players a go, and Romania was just not strong enough, winning that game with a 74-point margin. So they're going to be more in the stats than everyone else. But let's go through the stats. So we can see the tournament stats there. Firstly, most tries as Bundi Aki. They feature him as most tries, but there was quite a few players that scored 2 tries in the first week of the World Cup 2023. Most conversions, Johnny Sexton there with 7 conversions. Obviously having a lot of opportunities to kick to the post due to that big win versus Romania. Then Viliama Mata, the most runs. We know how Fiji was running with the ball against Wales. A really good performance by Mata there. And 22 runs, making him the most runs. And it's good to see some Fijian players here as well. Then if we just look at the tournament, 48 matches to be played, 9 has been played so far. So just so that you know that is why these stats might look a certain way. And then most points, that goes to George Ford. Now this is a good tally to have in one game. Was against Argentina. He drop kicked them pretty much out of the game. 27 points in that game, 6 penalties and 3 drop goals. George Ford definitely putting his hand up, and it's going to be we'd want to see if this is going to keep going on for George Ford, if he'll keep going back to that tactic, because I think a lot of teams will now try and anticipate it and mark him. Most offloads, Tate McDermott. They've got him there with 3, but I think there is some others also with 3 offloads. But anyway, Tate McDermott, most clean breaks, Bundi Aki, and we know how he was giving the Romanians a really tough time in that midfield. He's just too strong and too big and too fast, and they couldn't stop him. Then most tackles, goes to Will Rowlands. I wonder why. It's because the Fijians had so much of the ball against the Welsh in that game, and they had to put in a lot of tackles. So him coming off them with the most tackles. Then looking at the top 5 players is the next thing you want to be looking at. Just in general, points scored. And we know, you're probably going to have a lot of fly-offs, topping this top 5 players, because it goes on points for the first stat. But then we'll look at other stats like tries, etc. From a points point of view, the top 5 players at the moment is George Ford, with that 27 points against Argentina, taking first place. Ben Donaldson not far behind in that game between Australia and Georgia, where he also was able to have a lot of kicks at post. He's on 25 points. Sexton on 24 points in 3rd position. Again, that game against Romania. Thomas Ramos, the game against the All Blacks, and Melvin Jamine, equaling 4 and 5 there with 17 points. Then going to tries. If we look at the tries, we can see that first is Ben Donaldson with 2 tries in that game against Georgia. But with him also we've got Bundi Aki, which they featured at the start of this report or statistics. Bundi Aki. We also have Johnny Sexton scoring 2 tries in that game. And then we've got Fakatava from Japan scoring 2 tries in that game against Chile, and Mark Talia with 2 tries in that game against France. So at this stage, very even between all the teams. We know they're chasing 8 tries. The last guy to score 8 was Brian Abana. They're trying to beat that with more than 8 tries in this World Cup. I definitely think this is going to be the World Cup that someone will go over those 8 tries. Then runs, I've already mentioned Mata with 22 runs at the top there as the player with the most runs. Second, we've got Bundi Aki with 20 runs. He was also having fun in his game. And then again a Fijian third, Drew Asese with 19 runs. Bowden Barrett in fourth place with 18 runs. And then, wow, can you believe this? Tiaan Swanepoel, we know ex-Lions player, plays for the Lions in South Africa, but got the Namibian blood, so could play for Namibia in this World Cup with 17 runs. And he's a talented player. It's great to see him also feature the first week on the statistics. Let's move on to conversions. We can see there Johnny Sexton with Tommaso Allen from Italy, both with 7 conversions. Then we've got Matsuda from Japan with 6, Jack Crowley then with 4, so going down a bit, and Melvin Jamine with 3. Then going to the offload game, guys, like I said to you, there's quite a few guys that said 3 offloads. We've got Tate McDermott there, they're featuring on the top. I don't know why, because I don't know how they picked this. I guess it doesn't matter. Joe McCarthy also with 3 from Ireland. Jack Dempsey from Scotland with 3. Anton de Pont with 3 with France. And Luka Matkava from Tonga with also 3. Then going on to tackles. Will Rowlands, 27 tackles. Like I said, was very busy against Fiji. Had to get quite a few tackles. But then you see a lot of Welsh guys there, and that just shows you how the Fijians pushed the Welsh guys with the tackles. Gareth Thomas with 23 tackles, Jack Morgan with 20, and then only do you see Japan come in with 19 tackles, and Mufana from France with 19 tackles as well. Clean breaks. So when we look at clean breaks, we've got Bundiake first with 5 clean breaks. Noah Tuwase from Australia with 3, but also Freitas, Hansen, and Movaka from Argentina, Ireland, and from France with 3 runs. Then, obviously, not such a great statistic to have to look at, but yellow cards, we've got quite a few teams getting yellow cards. We see there the Romanian Simeonescu, we've got Tagi Tagivalu from Fiji, we've got Van Jaarsveld from Namibia, we've got Modibadze from Georgia, and we've got Domachowski from Wales. So quite a few cards in that first game. We know due to tackles and stuff, it's going to be challenging in this World Cup to kind of try and keep your body low to not concede those cards. Then top 5 teams, we see Ireland in first place, 82 points scored. France second with 54 points scored. Italy in third with 52 points scored. Japan in fourth with 42 points scored. And Australia in fifth with 35 points scored. Tries wise, by far we've got Ireland on top with 12 tries. Italy with 7, quite a lot less. Japan 6, France 5, and Australia 4. We know this will change as we go along in the World Cup. Conversions as a team: Ireland 11, Italy 7, Japan 6, France 4, Australia 3. Offloads as a team: Ireland by far the most with 27. That's one thing they do very well, keep the ball alive. France with 20, Italy with 13, Fiji with 9, and Wales with 9. Tackles. Wales had to tackle so much, as I've mentioned, in that game against Fiji. 253, leading the pack there. France second, had to also tackle a lot against the All Blacks, 228. Romania with 163, then Georgia with 159, and Japan with 151. You'd think these tackle rates would be highest by the second tier teams, but we see first tier teams really challenging each other in that first round. This will change now because the second round will not have as many big first tier teams coming up against each other, so this should change quite a bit. Clean breaks: Ireland 21, France 12, Italy 12, Australia 9, Japan 7. Then yellow cards, and from a team perspective, Chile heading this at the moment with 2 yellow cards. We know they've had some discipline challenges. Japan 1, Wales 1, Fiji 1, and Romania 1. Then red cards, the first, who would have guessed? The first to get yellow cards, England with 1 yellow card. Tom Curry getting that yellow card. And again, high tackle. It's now the third in the warm-up games. We've got Farrell and we've got Vunipola, and now also Tom Curry on that list, the first in the World Cup. Guys, what did you think of that? It's obviously very skewed in a sense. We can't get a real good picture, but you'll see a lot of teams come in now in the second week and third week as they play, not as strong teams and be able to score some points. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button like I always ask you. Then you will appear on my own page, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for your support. Bye.